My wife cheated on me with my best friend, then secretly sold our family home for $350, $0 without telling me, and now she's trying to claim half of everything in court. I never saw it coming. Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. I never saw it coming. One day everything was normal. My wife, Lisa, was her usual bitchy self, throwing tantrums over the smallest things, but I chalked it up to stress. We'd been together for 10 years, married for 7, and honestly I thought I knew her inside out. But then, out of nowhere, I stumbled upon something that flipped my entire world upside down. It started with little things. Lisa's been acting weird for a few months, canceling plans last minute, disappearing for hours without telling me where she was going, and getting defensive whenever I asked. I noticed her phone was always locked, and she'd get tense when I tried to look at it. I figured she was cheating, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Still, my gut told me something was off. Then one day I came home early from work because I wasn't feeling well. I walked into the house and immediately sensed something was wrong. The living room was a mess, papers scattered, a glass of wine spilled on the rug. And then I saw her, Lisa, in our bedroom, half naked with my best friend, Mark. They were tangled up on the bed, caught mid-pleasure. It was like a punch to the gut. My heart stopped. I froze in the doorway watching them. Lisa saw me first. Her eyes went wide with panic, then she immediately started lying. She told me it was nothing, just a mistake, that it was a one-time thing, that Mark was just helping her with some project. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "It doesn't mean anything. It's just sex. It's not a big deal." But I knew better. I saw the way Mark looked at her, like he was completely smitten, and I saw the way Lisa was trying to brush it off, like she was trying to hide something. I felt a rush of anger, betrayal, confusion. How could she do this to me, to us? I'd always been loyal, always tried to be a good husband. And now I was standing here watching the woman I loved, the woman I thought loved me, cheat on me with my best friend. It was like everything I believed in was crumbling. I didn't say a word. I just turned around and left the house. I needed to process what I'd seen, figure out what to do next. But I knew one thing for sure. My wife, Lisa, had been lying to me for months. She'd been sneaking around, hiding things, and now I had proof. That's when the real nightmare started. After I left the house that day, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying what I'd seen, Lisa's face, Mark's guilty look, the way everything felt so surreal. I never thought I'd be that guy, the one who catches his wife cheating, but there I was. I kept asking myself, how did I miss the signs? How did I not see this coming? Over the next few days, I started noticing more things that didn't add up. Lisa was more irritable than usual, snapping at me over small stuff, even when I wasn't doing anything wrong. She was secretive about her phone, changing passwords, deleting texts, acting like she was hiding something. I'd find her lying about where she'd been or who she'd been talking to. It was all so obvious, but I kept telling myself I was overthinking it, that maybe I was just paranoid. One night, I decided to dig a little. I went through her phone when she was asleep and I found messages, flirty texts, some explicit, between her and Mark. They were talking about meeting up again, planning secret encounters. Seeing that just confirmed what I already suspected. It wasn't a mistake. It was ongoing. She'd been cheating on me for months, maybe longer. That's when the anger really started to boil over. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this, lie to my face, and then sell our family home without telling me? I found out she had already sold it, without telling me, by snooping through her emails. The sale was for $350, $0. I was stunned. Our house, the place I thought was our safe haven, gone. Sold behind my back for cash she didn't even bother to tell me about. I confronted her again, this time with the proof. I told her I knew everything, the affair, the sale, everything. Her reaction was classic Lisa. She called me paranoid, accused me of overreacting, said I was jealous and insecure. She looked at me with that smug, bitchy smile and said, "You're overreacting as usual. Mark and I are just friends. The house needed to go, I needed the money. You're just being paranoid." I couldn't believe her. She lied so effortlessly, like she was used to getting her way. but I wasn't about to let her manipulate me anymore. Deep down, I felt a mix of heartbreak, rage, and disgust. I had trusted her, loved her, and now I was staring down a future that looked nothing like I'd planned. That's when I realized I had to make some tough decisions. I couldn't stay in this mess. Not with her lying and cheating and trying to take everything I'd ever worked for. The betrayal was too much. I knew I had to fight for what was mine, my dignity, my money, my life. I decided I'd get a lawyer, find out exactly what she was planning, and take control of the situation. I did. Want her to walk all over me, not after everything. The pain was still fresh, but I knew one thing for sure: this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a fight I wasn't ready for, but I was going to win. Or at least I was going to try. The days that followed were a blur of legal consultations, sleepless nights, and cold fury. I hired a lawyer, an aggressive guy named Mike, who told me I had a solid case, especially with the evidence I uncovered. I handed over everything I had: the emails, the proof of the sale, the texts between Lisa and Mark. It was a mess, but I knew I had to get my ducks in a row. Meanwhile, Lisa was acting as if nothing had happened. She was still bitchy, still throwing tantrums, but now with a new layer of arrogance. She'd come home, toss her hair, and pretend everything was fine. She'd say, "You're overreacting just like always," when I brought up the affair or the house. She insisted she deserved half of everything: our savings, the house, even my retirement fund. She was trying to play the victim, claiming I was the one who'd betrayed her asterisk, like I'd been sneaking around behind her back. The audacity. I couldn't believe how she was spinning it. She'd tell her friends I was controlling, jealous, and insecure. Meanwhile, she'd be out with Mark, sneaking around, selling our house, and lying to my face. It was infuriating. I started to realize that Lisa's entire persona was a mask. She's always been good at lying, manipulating, twisting the truth. That's probably why she got away with so much for so long. I also found out she'd taken the money from the house sale and was hiding some of it. She claimed she'd used it to pay bills, but I knew better. I had a feeling she was planning to run, maybe move out of state, start fresh somewhere else. I couldn't let that happen. I needed to secure my assets, protect what was left, and make her prove her case if she thought she could walk away with half of everything. One thing that really struck me was how she kept insisting she was the victim. She'd say, "You don't understand, I needed that money for us. You're just too paranoid. Mark and I are just friends. But if you keep accusing me, I'll have no choice but to fight back." That's when I realized her game. She was trying to turn the tables, make me out to be the crazy one, the jealous husband. But I wasn't falling for it anymore. I saw her for what she was: an unfaithful, manipulative bitch who'd do anything to get what she wanted. I started gathering more evidence: hidden bank accounts, phone records, even a recent hotel bill with her name on it. It was all piling up, and I knew I had her cornered. But I also felt a strange emptiness inside. I'd loved her. I'd trusted her. And now I was fighting to keep what was mine, all while she sat there, pretending everything was fine. I decided I wasn't going to let her take me down without a fight. I'd seen what she was capable of: selling our home behind my back, cheating on me with my best friend, and I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. I was planning my next move, knowing I'd have to be smart, ruthless, even if I wanted to win this war. The betrayal cut deep, but I was determined to come out on top. I just didn't know how much more I could take before I cracked. The legal process dragged on, and every day I felt like I was walking a tightrope. Lisa was relentless, trying to spin her lies even more convincingly. She'd show up at court, bitchy as ever, with that condescending smirk. She argued she deserved half of everything because she contributed to the household, even though I knew she'd been secretly siphoning money, cheating, and selling the house behind my back. Her lawyer was just as aggressive, trying to paint me as the controlling husband who didn't understand her needs. But I had the evidence, and I had the truth. I knew Lisa's game. She was trying to keep the house, which she knew was worth a lot, and she wanted to take my savings too. She was claiming I was unfaithful, which was laughable considering she'd been the one sneaking around with Mark. Still, she was good at twisting things, and I had to stay sharp. One day I found out she'd been talking to her friends, spreading stories about how I was abusive and possessive. trying to turn everyone against me. I even overheard her on the phone claiming I'd been violent when I confronted her about her affair. None of it was true, but it was clear she was desperate to save her reputation and her money. Meanwhile, she kept pushing for a settlement, half of everything, including the house she'd already sold. I refused. I told my lawyer I wanted to fight for what was fair, for the assets I earned, not her secret stash or the sale she didn't tell me about. I knew she'd been planning something, maybe trying to leave town with the money, and I couldn't let that happen. I had to protect myself, my future, and what little dignity I had left. Then, out of nowhere, she dropped a bombshell. She claimed she was pregnant, said it was Mark's baby. I couldn't believe my ears. It was like she was throwing everything at me, trying to make me look like the bad guy while she played the victim. I was furious. I knew she was lying, but that didn't stop her from trying to use it as a weapon. She wanted sympathy, maybe even leverage, to get her way in court. I felt sick, not just because she lied, but because I'd loved her, trusted her, and she'd been betraying me this whole time. The woman I thought I knew was a master manipulator. She was trying to control the entire situation, to turn everything against me. But I refused to let her win. I had my evidence, my lawyer, and a resolve to fight this all the way. Throughout this chaos, I started to realize how much she'd been hiding. Her secret bank accounts, her plans to leave, her lies about the house sale. She'd been planning this for a while, I think. I saw the signs, the small clues I ignored before. Now I was fully awake, and I knew I had to be smarter than her if I wanted to come out of this with anything left. I wasn't just fighting for money anymore. I was fighting for my sanity, my reputation, and my future. And I knew I couldn't let her take that from me. As the court dates kept coming and going, I felt like I was drowning in a sea of lies and deception. Lisa's accusations about me being abusive or controlling were getting more outrageous each time she opened her mouth. She even tried to claim I'd hit her once, which was a flat-out lie. I never laid a finger on her, but she's good at twisting facts to suit her narrative. I guess her plan was to make me look like the villain, so everyone would sympathize with her and see her as the victim. What's worse is that she was still trying to control the narrative outside the courtroom. She'd call her friends, her family, anyone who would listen, spinning stories about how I was an unloving husband who'd lost his mind. I overheard her talking to her sister one night, saying she was scared of me and that I was dangerous. It made me sick to hear how she was manipulating everyone, including herself. Meanwhile, she kept pushing her case to claim half of everything: our savings, the house she'd already sold, even some of my retirement money. I told my lawyer I wasn't giving her a dime more than what was fair. The house sale was done without my knowledge, and I had evidence she'd been siphoning funds for months. I was determined to fight her for every penny, not because I was greedy, but because I knew she'd try to walk away with everything, leaving me with nothing. Then the biggest shock came. She filed for full custody of our kids, our two teenagers, Emily and Jake. I couldn't believe it. She was trying to turn the kids against me, painting herself as the good mother who needed sole custody because I was unstable. I had to fight back hard. I wanted to be part of their lives, to explain everything, but she was doing her best to keep me away from them, spinning her lies. I knew I had to step up, so I hired a good custody lawyer. I gathered every piece of evidence I could find: messages, photos, witness statements from people who knew her true character. I wanted to show that she was manipulative and untrustworthy, that her claims about me were baseless. I wasn't perfect, but I loved my kids, and I knew I deserved at least shared custody, if not full. Throughout all this, I felt a roller coaster of emotions: anger, sadness, frustration, and even moments of despair. I'd loved Lisa once and I'd trusted her with everything, but her actions had shattered that. I was learning, sometimes the person you trust most in the world turns out to be the biggest liar. I realized I had to be strong, for myself and for my kids. No matter how much it hurt, I had to keep fighting. I knew I'd come out of this battered, but I also knew I wouldn't let her destroy me completely. I was determined to rebuild, to move on, even if it meant starting over from scratch. The court finally reached a decision, and I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. Lisa didn't get everything she wanted. She didn't get full custody, and the judge ordered her to return the money from the house sale, which she tried to hide in various accounts. The judge also awarded me a fair share of the assets, and I was granted primary custody of the kids, with supervised visitation for Lisa. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to start rebuilding my life. Looking back, I realize how much I've been through. The betrayal cut deep, but it also forced me to confront some ugly truths about trust, deception, and what really matters. I learned that sometimes the person you love can turn into someone you don't recognize, and that's a hard lesson. I also learned the importance of standing up for myself, of not letting someone manipulate and lie their way into controlling everything. I've come to accept that Lisa was never the person I thought she was. She was selfish, manipulative, and willing to destroy everything to get what she wanted: money, status, control. But I refused to let her define my future. I've started focusing on my kids, rebuilding my career, and finding happiness in small, honest things. It's not easy, and I still feel the sting of betrayal every now and then, but I'm learning to move forward. If there's one thing I want others to take from this, it's that you can't ignore the signs of betrayal or manipulation. Trust your instincts, keep evidence if you need to, and never let someone else dictate your life or strip away your dignity. The pain of betrayal is real, but so is the strength you find when you fight back. I've been through hell, but I'm still standing. And I want anyone in a similar situation to know you're not alone and you're stronger than you think. Keep fighting, protect what's yours, and never lose sight of your own worth. Life can be brutal sometimes, but it's also a chance to rebuild, to learn, and to come out better on the other side.